Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are once again going to be doing another Warzone ranking video. And this Warzone ranking video, we are going to be ranking all the contracts that are in Warzone. If you guys end up enjoying this video at the end, obviously when you've watched the whole thing, please definitely show your support by dropping a like, comment, and subscribe. It's always greatly appreciated, and it'll be able to let you guys be able to tell me that you want to see more videos like this. The last video about the bunker Easter eggs did extremely well, so if we can get anything close to that, that would be absolutely phenomenal. But yes, guys, if you enjoyed, just definitely do the following. But enough with the normal YouTube shtick, let's get on with the actual video. So, there is 5 contracts that are currently in Warzone at the moment, so it's not really too many. But the good news is, though, is that it's a decent enough that warrants a video. If it was any less, it probably wouldn't, but 5 is good enough. It'll basically be like a top 5 sort of format. So, let's begin with our video, guys. So, coming in at the number 5 spot, or in this case, my least favorite or the worst contract, this is going to end up being the most wanted contract. Or in this case, because sometimes for some reason people don't remember the names, it's the crown that basically acts like as a self-bounty. So, unfortunately, that's the reason I don't like this contract, because it is a self-bounty. In Warzone, obviously, the game is very slow-paced traditionally. A lot of players end up rocking things like Ghost, and they rock monolithic suppressors, and they don't move too much. So why on earth would you purposely want to basically put yourself on the map as sort of like an advanced UAV? It really doesn't make too many sense. And the thing is at the same time, on top of that, there's nothing really incentivizing about doing this in the first place. The idea is that you are basically doing a bounty in reverse. You're essentially making it where the whole entire lobby knows where you are, and your objective is to try to survive to end up earning cash. But the thing is, though, is by playing the game normally, you can pretty much earn the same amount of cash, especially if you're a really good Slayer player, but there's really no incentive to do it this way, because this version of surviving makes the game even more slower paced, because you're more likely to avoid people on this contract. Why would you end up rushing with this contract on you? It would be like in multiplayer, or even in Warzone, because there is the advanced UAV. That would be like blatantly challenging someone with an advanced UAV up. You're literally going to get killed 99.9% of the times. It's almost like the equivalent of cheating, but I guess you could say the fair way. Like, someone's always going to know where you are. I mean, so why would you do this to yourself? It's just not worth it in my eyes. So it slows down the game, and you really don't get a reward for it. And plus, also, you're more likely to die. Like, 9 times out of 10, like, and this is if you don't have a hacker already, but if you end up picking up this contract, you're more likely to die, especially because the only time this is really a benefit to you is at the beginning of the game, when you are most susceptible to dying because you don't have any loot. There's no point in picking this up at the mid or the end game. It's literally only meant for the beginning. But at the beginning, you have the least amount of loot. So unless you get a good drop and you get good floor loot, or you for some reason can manage to get enough cash, which the whole entire point of this contract is to get you cash, it doesn't really work out. There's so many loopholes that just makes this contract kind of garbo, and that's personally why I don't like it at the end of the day. So that's why I put this here where it is. It really needs to honestly have a revision, because otherwise the contract is going to be just staying useless. Alrighty, coming in at the number 4 spot, this is going to be the normal bounty contract. So with the bounty contract, this one makes a lot more sense, and this one is honestly a much better designed contract. So it's like it suggests. Obviously, you pick up a bounty, and you have a random player on the whole entire Warzone map. Usually it's someone close to you, but it's not necessarily guaranteed. But it's just someone relatively close to you, and your objective is to kill this person, and you get a cash reward. Now, in hindsight, this doesn't seem too difficult, but obviously, since it's Warzone, and we have a variety of different problems, you're going to have kind of a hard time trying to seek out players, because you have things such as skill-based matchmaking, you're making your enemies most likely good, you have the possibility of running into a hacker, to someone cheating in the first place, and also, if all else fails, you have someone camping and trying to obviously hide from you because they know they have a bounty. So, this one, in hindsight, is honestly not that bad in comparison to the previous contract that we talked about, because you're doing the hunting rather than being the hunted. But unfortunately, Warzone, as the way it plays out nowadays, this contract honestly does not end up being worth your while. This really is only useful if you're essentially in the lower tier brackets and you happen to be having an advantage over lower skilled players, because a normal tryhard player would not let you do this to them unless you are just genuinely a freak of nature and you somehow have the optic scumpy powers without cheating, that you can essentially just destroy people with these, and I respect that if you can. But for me in particular, I don't like picking up this contract just because it's more frustration than it is ease, and I honestly prefer the other three for the following reasons that we'll get onto later in the video. So yeah, that's where I put the bounty contract. Now let's rank the next one. Alrighty, so coming in at the next spot, this is going to end up being the supply run contract. So for the supply run contract, there's a little bit of a novelty to this one just because it actually incentivizes rushing, but also it gives extremely good and unique rewards that are different pretty much all the time depending on your circumstances. So let me explain. Essentially, this is like the fire sale from like zombies, but for Warzone. If you end up picking this up, if you have the time, I suggest that you have the time because otherwise it's going to be a pain in the ass to do. But if you have the time, within the time frame, because when you pick this up, there's like a timer that starts, and what you need to do is within the time frame, you need to end up getting to your closest buy station. If you can get to the closest buy station near you while this contract is active before the time runs out, you will end up having a discounted set of items at your little buy station. Now, at the buy station, some items are extremely cheap, and some are even free. Usually, I mean, I can't guarantee this, but almost 9 times out of 10, I like to believe it's guaranteed. You get a self-revive for free, and everything else is like either like 50 or even more than 50% off. So you can get like UAV spam central, and you can get an advanced UAV just on your own. You can even do it in solos too. Like you can get an advanced UAV in solos doing this. You can end up getting armor boxes. You can end up getting a variety of different things, and this is extremely good, extremely good when you're in a pinch and you need to end up getting supplies. If you, for example, are struggling on a loadout and you pick up one of these, this will be allowing you to end up getting so much potential for getting a loadout and getting it for relatively cheap, so you can also buy other things. So this is really great also towards the end game if you can get lucky. At the extreme worst case scenario, I mean, you might end up dying trying to get on the way there because you're obviously rushing. But the good news is, though, is that at the conclusion of this, as we're wrapping up things here going on to the next contract, it at least incentivizes rushing, which I respect, and that's personally why I like this contract a lot more. And now we've got only 2 left, and the reason why these 2 are where they are is because they function in the game so much better. Alrighty, coming into the next spot, this is going to end up being the Scavenger Contract, or in this case, the Chest Contract. So, essentially, what you end up having to do for this contract is that when you pick this up, you have to go to a certain set of loot boxes that are going to be around the map, 3 of them in particular. And these can be anywhere, as far as I'm aware, but hopefully they are relatively close to you. You end up picking up 1 box up at a time, and then you go to the next location until you get all 3, and your loot chances are extremely increased on this, I would like to believe. When you end up picking up all these chests, all 3 of them are really good loot, usually, and by the time you get to the last one has usually a epic or a legendary item of some kind. Preferably it would be a weapon, but not necessarily. Sometimes you can get things like gas masks and all that stuff. But at the, I would say the best case scenario for this one in comparison to the worst case for the other one, I would say the best case scenario for you is that this allows you to not only end up getting cash, so that we can end up getting supplies, but also it allows you to be able to have at least a somewhat of a fighting chance, because there's no real wrong time to pick up this contract. You can pick this up at the beginning, mid, and the end of the game, and it'll still be just as vitalizable or just as useful to you in all those circumstances. You'll never have a time where you don't want to pick up this contract. In fact, I encourage you to pick it up if you see it, because it will always benefit you. You'll end up getting cash, you'll end up getting weapons, and it's extremely easy to do because you don't have to worry about having BS player strategies interfere with you. All you gotta do is just know how to just, you know, keep training around the map, avoid enemies, and just open up boxes. This is extremely good also in the beginning too, just because it'll allow you to basically get your loadout drop immediately. So yeah, that's why I rank it here, and now let's move on to number 1. Alrighty guys, so now coming in at the number 1 spot, this is going to end up being the Recon Contract, or the Flag Contract. The Flag or Recon Contract, whatever you prefer to call it, is my personal favorite contract that is available in Warzone. It's easy, it's fun, and it is really, really great reward because you can also stack these. Let me explain. So all the contracts are supposed to function in some form or way that gives you a huge advantage, and they're all different theme. One acts like an advanced UAV, one ends up acting like a fire sale, and then the other one allows you to, which is my personal favorite, be able to figure out where the next ring is. So with the Recon Contract, you pick this up and you got to go to a flag, and you have to capture this flag in order to end up completing the contract. And doing so will give you a whole bunch of loot, and when you pull up your map, you will actually get a yellow ring revealing another zone ahead of time of what the current zone is. So this is similar to the ability that Pathfinder has, like in Apex Legends, but for Call of Duty. So if you play Domination, you essentially just gotta capture the flag, but it shoots a flare up in the sky and obviously it reveals where you are. But it's extremely useful to know where that next ring is, especially towards the end game. And the best part about this is that this stacks. So what you can do is that if you pick up a contract and then you complete it, and then you end up doing another one, there's 2 yellow rings now. And you can keep doing this up until the very last ring of the game. So, for example, if you end up picking up like a helicopter and you have your buddies do this, which is what I used to do way back in the days, that me and my buddies would just fly around in a helicopter picking up recon contracts, and we would know where the last zone is by the first zone happening. And you just have yellow ring after yellow ring, and so all you gotta do is just get into the closest building that's in the final zone, and you just prepare in there. I mean, yes, it's considered a camping more strat, but it is extremely useful, and you can rush if you want to. What you can do is you can use this to expect or just know the flow of the game preemptively. You'll know where people will most likely go, or you'll know where you can go to figure out how to be able to kill people optimally, and that's why I like it. You essentially get a free pass to how you know the game's going to play. Not necessarily always. Obviously, you might end up having people try to kill you on your way to the flag, and you might have people actually get into the zone ahead of you, but this is extremely useful if you know what you're doing. If you can get this done and you can stack this, and especially if you can get things like a loadout and you have Ghost and you have like UAVs on top of this too, and you're just overall a good player, you'll essentially be prepared for the end game immediately at the very beginning of the game, and that's why I like it. This gives you end game strats in the beginning of the game, and that's personally why the Recon Contract for me is #1. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it here for today's video. I truly hope you guys end up enjoying. If you did, please consider dropping a like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys end up enjoying this video, let me know what I can end up doing to continue the series. Let me know what you want to see me rank in Warzone next. But I hope you guys end up enjoying another YouTube video for the most unique YouTuber you guys are ever going to see. Peace out, guys.